Welcome. I'm on vacation. So this is the Stanley Parable. Normally we stream every single day. We're doing big games that take multiple days to finish, but I wanted to have a bunch of videos to be released every single day while I was on vacation, but I didn't want them to be long so that I would have to finish them when I came back. These are all going to be hopefully self-contained within my vacation. Stanley Parable, one of the most recommended games when you look for short games, so I figured, let's give it a try. So let's give it a try. First odd thing about it, it's in 4:3. 4:3 ratio is not common. That's very old and 90s. So are phones. So are those computers. So are those big towers. So are pencils and pens. Let's dive in. The end is never the end is never the end is loading. I like that they put the loading right on top of that. Fits in very, very nicely. I'll be drinking a yerba mate chai blend from some kind of tea place out of Toronto. Normally I have espresso in the morning, but too much espresso throughout the day makes me go crazy.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
That
Stanley
nice Hollywood
worked for a
soundtrack.
company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push,
Hunt
how
and peck.
long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
There you go.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
And you have control, just as the narrator has told you. Moves pretty fast.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Very Half-Life looking, eh? With the numbers. Looks a bit messy. Why would it be so messy?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Now, I had actually ran through this before for 15 minutes, and I went through this door, and there's actually a whole bunch of hilarious dialogue about you not trusting the narrator, and then I kept ignoring him, and then he did this little surreal scenario. But I'm going to do this one now, because I couldn't bother going through the same one again, because now I'm curious what they're going to say. Where they end up showing you the break room. It's really boring.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Group 42X, Group 47X. Office party. Do not alter without consulting the whiteboard manager. This book is too small. This box. Marketing Mondays. Sounds fun. The number of slides on this slide. Rates at which charts are the same slide to pick the same information. Oh my god, grabs per slide. Rate of increase in grabs per slide. On your boss appreciation minute worksheet, circle the top 20 things you love most about your boss. You don't even get to write them in yourself. You have to circle them. From pre-approved choices, of course. A broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
That's a mighty high ceiling for a broom closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ooh. It's like a 1940s film noir. Detective office.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
So surreal.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Meta. Where is that? Oof, look at the size of this thing. Is this Half-Life 3? Pollution, a tie, and a landscape. Further worlds to conquer. I like that red lighting. What if this becomes a horror game? Loading. So far, so great. So far, surreal.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
An office of mind control. Who just turned on that light? I don't think this game's gonna scare me, but
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
this game is... Well, which one? Escape? Do what the narrator told you. Alright.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
I feel like you gotta play this game at least twice. So many different routes it could have taken already.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
One of them had a red screen with warning lights on it. Is that his? Maybe? Over there?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Wow, I feel like whoever wrote this game recently quit their day job.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
I don't know, but I want to find
But
out.
here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Design in here is great. It's just work with what your engine can do. Create a cohesive art style. Kind of looks like Inside. Asphalt. I don't mean German. System power.
And when at last he found the...
I guess I could have waited for them to finish. So what would have happened if we went through the escape?
blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Again, we're following orders. Like BioShock. And now we're outside in some kind of EverQuest looking
Stanley felt
world.
the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Achievement unlocked, beat the game. The end is never the end, is never the end, is loading, never the end. Day 2. Ah, so when I went down the alternate path the first time, that was
All of his
probably...
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So what if, I guess I could go the first way and then
When
go through
Stanley
the escape.
came to a set of 2 open doors,
Door on the
he
right.
entered. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Here it is.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
The table is so low that to make coffee, you have to get down on your knees and pray to it.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Did you say paintings? That's a photo.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone... But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Oh, really? Nope.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Do not jump. Will cause death. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift, 5,000. Causes death.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Maybe
Please,
make that one.
stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Imagine dying because a box up that high of stuff falls on you. Nice skylights, though, for a warehouse.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you?
Hey.
I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Good morning, employee 427. Press B in your gamepad. Well, what if we don't? What if we don't press B in that gamepad? Then you can just turn the game off and that can be it. We must keep going. But we get punished when we keep going. Reminds me of playing Bloodborne.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Thank you. May I have another?
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Fine.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Please press B to watch TV.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. and he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Wonder if it seems like I don't remember anything about a baby or a yellow line. So maybe that was that second option that we skipped.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
This is depressing. Or inspirational. Or maybe both. Like the most important things in life.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
What's happening now? Oh, back here.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Wow.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Let's try it.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Or it's down here. Where's it?
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left.
Well, then we'll go right. Let me through.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
All right.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, hmm? Okay, from the top.
Wow.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
What does that say? It's the only computer that's on. Oh. Not anymore. Nothing outside. Thought it was just graphical limitations. Now it could be metaphorical. What was the one about the babies? A yellow line to the baby.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
They're all open now. What about the ones that were behind me? Nope. Inspiring. Inner guilt. Everyone knows what you did. You're just holding back to let you torture yourself. Almost looks like a topographical map.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again?
No.
Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Oh my god. So that was when I turned off that computer. I think.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, I got hung up on the wall.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Okay. So this isn't like PT where we need to solve a puzzle. They guide you along. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Are there more?
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
Okay. Ooh, the adventure line. What'll happen on the next episode? I hope you join us. I'll see you then. Vacation time.